Hey everybody, welcome back to the Soccer Shack. My name is Max Weidman. I'm in the studio with Patrick Garber and Will Hoffman, and we're going to be talking about some Premier League soccer. Alright, so to start us off with some games last week, Patrick, you want to talk about what happened? I know there's been some drama in the league going around.
All right, so basically the big one I would say would be today as of Monday. So this is when we're recording it, but Chelsea has just lost 2-0 to Manchester United. Chelsea had 2 goals ruled out due to VAR decisions. One was an offsides against Giroud. That was the second goal. And then the first one, apparently there was a push on Azpilicueta pushed Brandon Williams in the box. Williams fell down and Chelsea scored. So 2 big calls brought back due to VAR. And then also really early in the match, there was a kind of like a tackle by Harry Maguire. He was on the ground. Michy Batshuayi was, his forward momentum like carried him through, and Harry Maguire kind of just put his cleat up and got Batshuayi right in the groin, and there was no punishment from Maguire. He went on to score later in the match, and yeah, he was named man of the match for that game. So one big game. Will, you got one for us?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about your team, Arsenal, the Gunners. Actually, with a very good play this Sunday, right?
Yes.
Playing against Newcastle, the Geordies, 4-0. Wow, what a game to watch. I watched the first half of that. At that time, it was 0-0 at halftime. Although Arsenal have been creating chances here and there, Newcastle kind of had some chances with Saint Maximin, the young French winger. But in the end, after halftime, Arteta talked to the guys and was like, "We got this," and they surely came out, completed his plan of attack, and won by astounding 4-0 decision. So that was pretty good. I'm sure you're happy about
Dude,
that.
I was watching that game. In the first half, we had a bunch of chances that we really couldn't put them in, and I was nervous. I was like, "Oh, this is showing like Newcastle is gonna catch one break,
Yep.
and they're gonna score on us, and then we're gonna lose, or we're gonna draw in the second half." But nah, we held strong. We came out in the second half. Arteta gave them a right kick in the butt, and like Aubameyang got a goal, Pepe got a goal, Ozil got the third, and then
Lacazette came off the bench.
scored the fourth. So he actually ended his 10-game drought without a goal. So
That's good.
Good for his confidence. He needed that one. He was very excited on social media afterwards, saying that like, "Oh, the haters say we can't score." And it was a picture of him and Ozil, and both of them ended up scoring. So I was very impressed with the game in general.
Yeah, I was thoroughly impressed with that 4-0 slashing, because at some point sportscasters did something, and one of the guys on there said that Arsenal won 4-1, and both you and I looked at each other and we were like, "I don't know about that, buddy. Maybe like 2-1, 2-0, but they surely
way closer than we thought it was going to be."
exactly.
And then let's see, last one really highlight of the game or highlight weekend was Liverpool winning 1-0 against Norwich. Norwich had a good opportunity at the very end of the first half. Alisson came up with a big save, and then coming on in the
Freaking Sane, man.
the second half, Sadio Mane, he got himself a goal off the bench, and they won in the 78th minute and picked up 3 points.
Yeah.
So unlucky, but one of these days, hopefully they won't be as lucky.
Well, we'll see. I mean, we still get, like we talked about last week. There's still so much time left in this season, so we'll see how that works out in the end.
Moving on to Player of the Week. My Player of the Week was Bruno Fernandes, the Portuguese lad for Man U. Midfielder who, not a super impactful player as far as goals go, but in their win over the Chelsea guys, he created more chances than anybody else. I was reading that the other day, and I thought that was pretty cool. Seeing as how in his debut versus Wolves, he created no key passes. So I was like, what a way to kind of come back, sort of help your team out with being just kind of getting that ball moved around on the pitch there and creating some chances for them to get that win.
Yeah, almost a redemptive game to show Man U fans that he's not a fluke.
Yeah, and he picked up an assist. You got the assist to Harry Maguire, so kudos to him. Will, you got your Player of the Week?
I do. So in my decision of picking this player, I'm gonna go with Mesut Ozil, center mid for Arsenal. He didn't get player of the match for his game. Nicolas Pepe did. However, I felt Ozil was the one creating chances, spurring the team on in the first half. His touches, oh my goodness, fantastic. His movement on the ball, his creativity, it was honestly something really neat to watch because for the most part of the season, he's been held on the bench by the former Arsenal boss, Emery. And because there was, tension between those guys, he didn't have really that time to show what he can do. And Arteta has taken him as making a key part of his attack plan, his tactics, his strategies. And it surely showed against Newcastle. He had a magnificent touch. The ball was kind of bouncing, and he just flicked it up over the defender to himself and created a very nice chance to the left side of the pitch for the young Bukayo Saka to try to do something within the box. And that just showed his reliability in the midfield and his experience. And I think he deserves player of the match because he scored a goal. Did he get an assist? I don't...
No, he didn't get an assist.
Okay. Anyway, I felt like, in hockey, there's the two guys who make the passes, they're credited for assists. And only in soccer, the one guy is. So I think definitely Ozil had, some of those hockey assists. But anyway, I felt like he was creative on the ball, and that's why, in my opinion, he deserves man of the match.
I love that pick because, Mesut Ozil my favorite player, but
Yes, sir.
I'm going to have to give it to Nicola Pepe. He came on, or didn't even come on, he started, got a goal in the second half, and then picked up 2 assists. That's going to do him the world of confidence due to him not having the best of times here in his first season in England. Still trying to adapt. He's got that hefty price tag on his head. Most opposing teams' fans considering him flop of the season. Now he's scored 4 and had 5 assists in the last 5 games. So he's getting there, and I think he's done really well. He did really well against Newcastle, and that's why I'm giving him my player of the week this week.
I know we've all been waiting to talk about this. There has been a ton of drama going on in Premier League, especially with Man City. Patrick, I'll kind of let you explain to our listeners kind of what's been going on.
So basically, Manchester City's been under investigation for a breach in financial fair play. What that means is they've been spending way too much money on players, on sponsorships, and it's caught up to them. FIFA said this is enough. We don't want money to just rule over football as a whole. I know other teams around the world like PSG they're under investigation a little, so it could be the first domino in seeing how many big teams fall due to this. Manchester City, they've been banned from Champions League and Europa League for the next 2 years. They've also been fined 30 million euros, and I've also seen reports where they could be docked in the Premier League points and possibly even having them return to League Two.
Yeah.
So that's the 4th division in England, the bottom tier of professional football in England. So if they drop all the way to League Two, that's going to be incredible to see because of how big they are on the world stage, and it would just be unheard of due to the quality of their manager, the quality of their players, and it's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds the next couple of weeks.
So in this situation, who's at fault? Is it Pep, the manager, or is it the board?
It is the board.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think, with that, like you said, it started this domino effect. I think it's sports are honestly just very much, it's just all about the power play. They get political, and it's sort of who knows who and how much money you're going to push around. And I think you're right. If someone digs into one team, they're going to find something going on somewhere else. And I think we might see a little bit more of this going on in the Premier League.
Well, like you said earlier in one of our earlier podcasts, it's a business. At the end of the day, it's a business.
It is, yeah. And as much as people are it's keep sports, and it's a business at the end of the day. People got to make money out of it. And that can be kind of for the better or for the worse. So I think we might see some big changes.
But I think I agree because I remember our freshman year, Patrick, that you wrote a paper about this same instance, about how big name teams are getting so powerful with money because of sponsorships and whatever, and they're buying these high-priced players to make a super club. And I think it's good that, FIFA and UEFA are looking at this now to try to level
the
the playing field for clubs like Sheffield United, who might actually have a chance to go to Champions League this year. They just came up from the second division because now it's the fifth spot. Essentially, if Man City at the end of the season is at second place or wherever, top 5 or whatever, these lesser known clubs or teams that just got promoted to their top flight have an opportunity to go play in Europe somewhere. So I think that's exciting for one thing, but I think we haven't asked any Man City fans of how they felt, but I'm sure they're one for shock at this, that team let it happen. We'll see how the penalties go to them. You know, we'll see.
It'll be interesting to see this next couple of weeks, over the next year as well, with the like how harsh is the punishment's gonna be.
Right.
Who else is gonna get hit? I think PSG might get hit. I think Liverpool, in all honesty, might get hit.
We'll see.
They've spent a bunch of money. I think Barcelona, Real Madrid, these teams, like these giant teams who spend countless amounts of money, Juve, they could all get hit eventually, and they've got to be careful.
They do. So this is kind of speculation, but do you think because Man City might be the first one to suffer punishment, do you think they're going to be made an example? Therefore, harshen, like, get all the like worst possible punishments to them, and you think that's going to happen?
Yeah.
Okay. Whew.
So moving on from Man City, Will has his obscure trade rumor of the week. Will, what do you got for us?
Well, I kind of have 4. I'll be short and sweet with all of them. So, Hakeem Ziyech of Ajax has been in talks with Chelsea to make a move this summer at a $43 million price. I can see this happening because if you just look at the past team, Ajax's past team, I think more than half of that squad has left the club. So Ajax is also a powerhouse for youth, good youth players that they send off. For instance, Matthias de Ligt, Frankie de Jong. Van de Beek, even though he's still there, I think he's going to go sooner or later. The next thing I have, so...
Wait, can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Oh, yeah, so about Ziyech, they've had a verbal agreement with Chelsea.
Okay.
So he will be making that move to Chelsea in the summer. Chelsea's Twitter page has announced that over the weekend, actually, before their game today. So yeah, that one's gonna be happening, and I'm actually interested to see how he does in the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, so far, Frankie de Jong in Spain's first league has done really well. Matthias de Ligt has been a great backline defender for Juve. So I think he's going to do the same thing. I honestly believe that. So this is kind of another rumor that my guy, Erling Haaland, the youth Norwegian striker who just signed with Dortmund, who is absolutely playing out of his mind, scoring almost 10 goals in a matter of 3 weeks. Now, I don't know if this is going to be true now because of this penalty to Man City. However, there's reports out of England saying that Man City have identified Erling Haaland as Sergio Aguero's long-term replacement. But I don't know how true that's going to be now because they're facing these consequences. So we'll see how that works out. Another sad news for me as a Dortmund fan. My man Jadon Sancho has come out saying that he's planning to leave Dortmund this summer, the young English guy. And I'm very sad to see him leave because, like Pulisic, I thought he was going to stay. But, you know, I mean, I get it. It's England's his home country, and I'm sure he wanted to play in the Premier League when he was a young kid. But it happens, you know, in this world of transfers and stuff like that. And then lastly, because of Man City's, you know, troubles, I hear that Kevin De Bruyne verbally has said he wants to leave.
Yes, that one is actually like the big news out of this whole. I think it's gonna be like a domino effect to see who actually leaves City.
Who wants to? Yeah.
If they end up playing in League Two, none of these players are gonna want to play. They're all gonna leave. So it's like Kevin De Bruyne. I know Barcelona, big admirers of him. They need a creative midfielder. So I think it's going to be a good fit, I think, personally. See if they can get the price done. But yeah, other than that, going back to the Jadon Sancho one, returning to England, big step for him because he was a Manchester City youth player. He didn't get his chance. He went to Dortmund. He's now shining. He's now one of the starting wingers for the England national team. I know Chelsea want him. I know Man United are big fans of him. And I know Manchester City wanted to buy him back. Liverpool, I've seen a little bit of talks. And then I've also seen, I don't know how good this is going to be, but Arsenal youngsters been chatting him up on Instagram.
Interesting.
Reece Nelson, I know they're really
Close. Yes.
best friends. So it'll be interesting. Reece Nelson, Bukayo Saka, Joe Willock, Nketiah, they've all been chatting, been leaving comments on each other's pictures. They hang out during England national duty. So it's a toss up right now to see where he'll go, and it's going to be interesting to see how that one unfolds this summer.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting too because, he is a dynamic player and he's really made his name in the Bundesliga. I think he was like the youngest player to have, I think it's 25 goals and 25 assists. But I think he's going to do well wherever he goes. It may not be even England. Who knows? So we'll see. But I'm pretty sure he's going to go back to England regardless. So that's Will's obscure transfers of the day.
So looking ahead at the next coming week, who we've got? We got Chelsea playing Spurs.
Yep, London Derby out there.
Man City will play Leicester. Sheffield United play Brighton. Arsenal play Everton. And my boys at West Ham, the Hammers, of playing Liverpool all throughout next week and the weekend. And just an update on the table for you guys. Top 5 right now is looking like Liverpool, Man City, Leicester, Chelsea, and Tottenham, Spurs rounding out top 5. I think Arsenal, we talked about earlier, sitting down there in 10th with that positive goal differential. So,
yeah, Liverpool has opened up a 25-point lead gap now, but we'll just see if any team can beat them at this point.
Well, that's all we got for you guys today. Thanks for tuning in to Soccer Shack. I'm Max Weidman here with Pat Garber and Will Hoffman. We're out.
See ya.
Deuces.